911, what's your emergency? 911, what's your emergency?
Be advised, Car 4 has control of the pursuit. Proceed with caution.
Hey guys, how are you all tonight? I am scrambling. We just got hit with a major thunderstorm. It started about 10 minutes ago. And I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And I'm like, well, I'm going to go ahead and try and go live, but it's really bad outside right now. So if I lose power or my stream goes crazy, you guys will hopefully understand, and I will be back. So I definitely plan on doing my live. So I'm sorry, you know, the weather is got its own mind, and I laugh because I thought to myself, this isn't going to happen. You know, I knew we were supposed to have storms tonight, but I can't believe that it waited until right before I was supposed to start my live. I'm just like, this is just not happening. But anyway, we just had major hail and my poor roof. I heard it. I haven't been able to get up and look to see how big it was, but it was pretty doggone noisy. So it, anyway. Hey, Mitzi, how are you? It's so good to see you. Hey, Lisa, how are you? Good to see you. Hey, Dave, how are you? I hope you're having a good weekend.
This is 25 weather tracker meteorologist Chuck Collins. A severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for your location.
Ouch. So, yeah, this case that I'm going to introduce tonight about Alexis Scott is something that is very important to me because it happened in my community. And I think about her each and every day. So I wanted to share her story and get it out there because she's still missing. So we're gonna talk about Alexis tonight. Hey, Sees Through All, how are you? Good to see you. Hey, Jill, how are you? Good to see you. Hi, Boston, how are you? Welcome. Always good to have you here. Oh, I know. It's just, the storms are what they are. And it's springtime in central Illinois. And I'm here to tell you, this is what we live for. Sure, Dave, you can post the radar. I don't know if it'll come through or not, but it's coming to my friends in Indiana very soon. Hey, Frank Meister, how are you? Good to see you. Oh gosh. Yeah. It's crazy. I'm not sure where Finn is. He's not in here with me. So he may be out watching it actually. Sometimes he likes to pay attention, especially if it's lightning. He'll get up in the windows. My kitty's not a scaredy cat. So, yeah, we were told we were going to have strong storms tonight, and I don't think that they disappointed by the sounds of things. So, but I'm going to try and get through what I can. If I have to hop off for a minute, you guys try to keep each other company. My moderators, if you can, help with that so that I will be right back, obviously. Hey, country girl, good to see you. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. So I hope you all have had a good start to your weekend. It is it's been pretty eventful around here. Okay, let's see. Boston, I'm actually south of Chicago, about 2.5 hours. I'm directly in the center of the state. And yeah, it was extremely warm here yesterday and today. And I heard that we're supposed to have cooler weather, possibly with this front that's moving through this storm. So we'll just have to wait and see. But Dave's our storm chaser, so he keeps an eye on this for us. I'm kind of chilly. I'm sitting here with obviously with my sweatshirt on. So that tells you how I'm feeling. How's everybody else? Everybody doing okay? So I wanted to talk about another case in Illinois. Before we talk about Alexis tonight and her case, I have a few other items that I want to talk about. And this case is about an Illinois family that has been missing since February. The father was out on bond for domestic violence. The police have said that there have been previous reports of domestic violence from the home. Which is scary. But an Illinois family has been missing since February after leaving their house with a U-Haul truck around the time when the father was released from jail after an alleged domestic violence incident. Stephen and Monica Lutz, along with Aiden, age 11, and Nicholas, age 9, from Newton, Illinois, were last heard from on February the 10th. Stephen Lutz was released from jail January 19th after he was charged with several domestic battery charges under the condition that he doesn't contact his wife or go into the home, according to Fox, Illinois. Police say that there have been previous reports of domestic violence from the home. Newton police said they have attempted to locate the family and attempted to locate them on February 14th, but there wasn't any evidence that the family was in danger at the time. Police told Fox, Illinois that they're taking necessary precautions because of how long the family has now been missing, all of whom were reported missing by Stephen Lutz's adult daughter, Brittany, on February 10th. Hold on one second, guys. Sorry. I'm trying to get the poster up. So just give me 1 second here. Let's see. Oh. Okay. I'm going to present my screen so you guys can see it. So this is a picture of the boys, a picture of their pickup truck, and a picture of the father and mother and the boys. Police said that a U-Haul was seen February the 10th at the Lutz's residence hitched to a pickup truck that Stephen Lutz drove, and added that no neighbors, family, or friends were told that they were leaving or when they might return. Shortly after the home's electrical service was cut off, according to family relatives and the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services, everything was left behind at the home, and said that while the interior of the home was usually immaculate, it looked like a tornado had hit every part of the house following the family's departure. A suitcase was seen on Stephen and Monica's bed, and there were still clothes in the kids' drawers and closets. Officials said cell phones belonging to Stephen and Monica pinged on February the 11th in Indianapolis, Indiana, and then on February 14th in Richmond, Indiana. Soon after, both phones were disconnected. Brittany said she last heard from Aiden in a text message saying that his family was going on a vacation, but he wasn't sure where they were headed, according to WCIA News. On February 14th, I did text my father, Stephen, and said if they needed to get away, I could take the boys and just get them back to a normal life. He said they have a normal life, they aren't together, and he's not allowed to be around them. This is what Brittany told WCIA. The Missing Persons Awareness Network is offering a $20,000 reward for information leading officials to this family and where they may be. And they can be reached at 312-620-0788 or call the Newton Police Department at 618-783-8478. And I just thought that this was important to get out there because I don't see anybody talking about them. And this is an entire family that has gone missing, and it is a domestic violence situation. So I do feel that they are endangered, the boys and the mother. So he was not supposed to contact his wife or go into their home. And he was seen at the home with the pickup truck and the U-Haul basically moving them out. So I think that that's highly concerning. I will keep an eye on this story for us to see what's going on. So there was a missing Minneapolis Indigenous woman, Alexis Whitehawk Ruiz, and she had been missing about 145 days.
This is 25 Chief Meteorologist Chuck Collins. Thunderstorm warning has been issued for your
And the family announced on April the 12th that she has unfortunately been found, and she was found deceased. Alexis disappeared after leaving her North Minneapolis house the night of November 16th, 2022, 5 days before her 21st birthday. During a press conference on December 21st, Alexis's family expressed distrust towards whether the Minneapolis police would properly investigate her disappearance. Since going missing, the family had been holding regular search parties with friends and volunteers to help find her. Those searches are now canceled. A GoFundMe that had been set up is still seeking support for the family. On April the 11th, the Finding Alexis Whitehawk Ruiz Facebook page posted that Alexis had been found, but unfortunately deceased. The post stated that the family is heartbroken and asking for privacy to grieve after 5 months of searching and hoping. The message that they left for everyone on the Facebook page stated, "Thank you for all your help in trying to find Alexis and for your contributions for her search. Her family really appreciates everyone's help. Alexis's family is heartbroken by this news and asking for privacy to grieve at this time. Alexis's grandmother's mother, sister, brother, and many relatives are still going to need love, support, and help. We will share information as we are able to, as to us. This is still an..." Alexa, stop. This is still an open investigation. Many questions still need to be answered around suspicious circumstances of her disappearance and death. Alexa's family is now making arrangements for a funeral service.
Sorry.
Alexa, stop. It's unfortunate anytime a loved one goes missing, but it's even more so when someone goes missing under suspicious circumstances. It really takes a toll on the family, the loved ones, the friends, the co-workers of this missing person. And I think the other unfortunate part of missing loved ones is the disparities in the urgency by law enforcement the media, and the community to find missing loved ones. It's something that really bothers me. I always want to highlight the disparities between when a white person goes missing, how quickly law enforcement and the media informs the public, and how quickly investigations are conducted, how quickly flyers are made and shared, social media pages are created, shared, and followed. They get the word out and money starts to pour in. And this is basically with little effort. Amounts for the reward money can climb to staggering amounts in some cases. Search parties are conducted, but the response when Indigenous and Black people go missing, there's just not as much urgency. Efforts and actions need to be taken to help Indigenous and Black families find their loved ones too. It is sad when anyone goes missing, but the disparities make it even harder for these families. And I just want everyone to understand that. Indigenous American Indian and Native American women accounted for 8% of all murdered women and girls in Minnesota from 2010 through 2018. Despite being only 1% of the population, a long and detailed report to the Minnesota legislature in 2020 from the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women Task Force noted that the root causes of violence against Indigenous women and girls, such as colonization, historical trauma, racism, and sexual objectification, lead to increased risk, including poverty, housing, child welfare and criminal justice system, domestic violence, and being trafficked. The Office of Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives was created in the Department of Public Safety to implement the recommendations made from the task force, and Juliet Rudy, a tribal member of the Lower Sioux Indian community and lifelong Minnesota resident, was named the director of the first office of its kind in the nation in February of 2022. There is currently no state or national system in place that collects data on missing and murdered Indigenous women. Families of missing loved ones continue to question the tangible results of the task force and where to find invested support for their loved ones when they go missing. The Minneapolis police declined to inform local CBS affiliate WCCO about where or when Alexis was found, but they did tell them that the case is active until the medical examiner determines how she died. The Finding Alexis page had noted that to them, this is still an open investigation and many questions still need to be answered around the suspicious circumstances of her disappearance and of her death. And as I told you guys in the beginning of the year, I am going to continue to raise awareness and bring these cases of the missing Indigenous women and missing Black women in this country to the forefront on my channel. Hey, Tech Death, how are you, my dear? Yes, Dave, we are. Yeah, it's funny because Alexis sits behind me and I didn't turn her off. So when she hears the word, she thinks I'm talking to her, Lisa. Yeah, the Highway of Tears is certainly concerning, and it is absolutely horrific what's happening up there in Canada and into our country as well. These females, both women, grown women, and teenage girls are disappearing at an alarming rate. And it just seems like nobody seems to care. And it's just really sad. So we really, truly need to bring these stories to the forefront. Hang on, guys. I got to take a drink because I'm dry. And I know to some that this is not as exciting to talk about as the Delphi case or possibly the Idaho case or some of the other true crime cases that absolutely just flood the airwaves. But I don't think that they're any less important. And I think that we as content creators owe it to the families of these victims and these missing people to cover their cases, just as if they had blown up and went viral all over the internet. So I'm going to try and continue to do my part. The other thing I wanted to tell you about was the police are searching for adults accused of abusing a 4-month-old and fleeing the state. Authorities are seeking to charge Brandon Augustine and Mildred Chestnut with felony child abuse. This is very disturbing, you guys. This is out of Charlotte, North Carolina on April the 12th. Police were searching for 2 adults who took their 4-month-old son to a Charlotte hospital, left while the baby was still receiving care, and have since fled the state. At least they took him for treatment. According to the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department, 24-year-old Brandon Augustine and 23-year-old Mildred Chestnut brought the child to the hospital on March the 20th, claiming that he was injured in a minor car crash. Police said the child's injuries were life-altering and not consistent with those sustained in a minor car crash. On March 21st, warrants were signed for the arrest of the 2 adults. Before they could be served, however, officials said that Augustine and Chestnut left the hospital, leaving the child behind on their own accord, and fled North Carolina. The car they are believed to have driven was later found intentionally hidden in Austell, Georgia. It's time to do right by your child, the Charlotte Police Department Major Luke Sell said during a media briefing. Any parent I know that those parents have to be having second thoughts about running, about not coming and seeing that child. We are all human. We're just asking that they come do the right thing and turn themselves in. Family members have filed missing person reports for Augustine and Chestnut. Augustine's mother, Diana, told WBTV she was in shock after she learned of the charges her son and his fiancée will be facing. Police are seeking to charge both adults with felony intentional child abuse causing serious physical injury. Investigators also said that anyone found to be helping Augustine and Chestnut could be charged. They said they have reason to believe people are helping them with rides, money, and shelter. It's not a great picture, but this is the best picture that I have of the 2 of them. Let me get it up here on the screen for you guys. Just give me a second. Hey, Lynn GMB. How are you? Welcome. So that's a picture of them. If anybody has seen them, please reach out to the Charlotte, North Carolina Police Department because they are wanted for abusing their 4-month-old child. So I wanted to go over this other case with you guys that I thought was very, very interesting. I'm always excited when I find out that a Jane Doe or someone who has been unidentified finally gets their identity back. And that this happened recently, and I wanted to talk about it. There was recently the 43rd anniversary of the discovery of a woman's body that law enforcement officials have finally verified her true identity. Thanks to genetic genealogy, the work of the Porchlight Project, a nonprofit group that funds DNA testing, Bode Technology, and the Sandusky Police Department in Sandusky, Ohio, part of this mystery has been solved. The woman who washed up on the shores of Lake Erie in Sandusky, Ohio in 1980 has been identified as Patricia Eleanor Greenwood, born in 1948. Her death is being investigated as a possible homicide. James Renner, who is an investigative journalist and the president of the Porchlight Project, shared that he's always felt strangely connected to this case. He was quick to give his take on what the future of this case looks like and what it meant for him to help get Patricia her name back. He said that that's his favorite part about what they do. Our name is who we are. You take away a name and it's like the person never existed. And he added what a terrible fate that is. This is just the beginning of Patricia's story, as the circumstances surrounding her death still remain shrouded in mystery and by many questions. Uncovering her identity will hopefully lead to long overdue justice, but there is still mystery that surrounds her untimely death. Going through archived newspapers and preserved detective notes are all that's left to detail the days her body was discovered. On March 30th, 1980, two people were taking an early morning stroll along the 1200 block of Cedar Point Road when they saw the badly decomposed body of a woman wash up on the shore. Sandusky police said there was almost no evidence when they first got to the scene. The woman no longer had hair due to the intense decomposition and the fact that she was likely in the water for a while. She had no scars, jewelry, or identifying items, leaving no clues or motive for what could have happened. All they knew concretely was the woman appeared to be in her 20s to 30s and was 5'5" and approximately 120 pounds. Thankfully, her size 12 beige disco-style cocktail dress and white lace slip were intact. Because of the folds in the fabric and the flowy nature of it, you can easily envision a young woman full of life spinning around with joy. She wanted to look nice for someone, Renner theorizes, but her description didn't match any missing persons, meaning she was likely never reported missing. Once the autopsy table took over, the Cuyahoga County medical examiner couldn't offer much more to the story. They noted that this Jane Doe had broken bones, a broken arm, and a broken leg. But it's unknown if those injuries were caused by the ice in the lake or if those injuries caused her death and are part of the mystery. After her autopsy, her body was sent back to Erie County to Groff Funeral Home and buried in Sand Hills Cemetery. Detectives immediately began checking multiple cities for reports of missing women, expanding their search across state lines to Michigan and even into Canada. But they got nowhere. For over 40 years, her case slowly started to collect dust until 2021, when Project Porchlight offered to completely fund the effort to discover Jane Doe's identity. The Jane Doe's body was exhumed in 2021 from a local cemetery to be sent to the Bodie Technology Lab, which is a forensic lab that works closely with the Porchlight Project, with the hope that the next time her remains would be back, her plot would bear a name. Bodie received the skeletal remains in late 2021 and began the critical and sometimes challenging DNA extraction process. Teresa Vreeland from Bodie Technology shared in the Porchlight Project press release that after having successfully extracted suitable DNA, high-density SNP testing was completed, which provided the starting point for the Bodie Forensic Genealogy Team. The forensic genealogy team then rolled up their sleeves looking for a lead. And that's when they discovered a family tree with 12 children, all given up for adoption in Michigan. Detective Eric Constantine followed through with the lead and spoke to one of the surviving brothers. He shared that he had not heard from his sister since around the time the unidentified body was found in Lake Erie. Sandusky police confirmed Patricia's identity on March 30th, 2023, 43 years to the day after the discovery of her body. Her death is considered a possible homicide, and a further interview with a surviving sister indicated that Patricia may have been a sex worker when she disappeared. Now armed with her identity and the beginnings of a modern homicide investigation, investigators hope that someone from Michigan or Ohio may remember Patricia and who she was with around the time of her disappearance. The next steps are to find people who knew Patricia back in 1980 and finding out who she was hanging out with. He added that the true crime community could help spread awareness to Patricia's case. We just need to get her name out there. If you know anyone from Bay City, Michigan, or Traverse City, or Saginaw, who was there in the 70s, ask them if they knew Patricia. If you do know Patricia Greenwood or have any additional information on her suspicious death, please don't hesitate to contact the Sandusky Police at 419-627-5980. So I thought that that was a pretty awesome story to tell about her. I just felt that it was something that I should share with you guys. We can get her name out there, and hopefully someone will know something. So hold on a second, guys. I just got an alert. Just a second. I'll be right back, okay? Hey guys, sorry about that. I am back now. I apologize. But man, oh man, oh man. Has it been wild here? Oh my God. Hey Ray, how are you? Hey Deb, how are you? I'm so glad to see you guys. Yeah, the weather here has been nuts. Nuts, nuts, nuts. I'm just going back to see what you guys were talking about to see. Okay. So I appreciate you guys all hanging in there. I know I'm sorry, you guys. It was really wild here. There was, like I said, the wind and everything. I was like not sure what was happening out there, and I had to jump off. I had to go see what was up. So let's get into Alexis's case. Because there's a lot, you guys. The case is so sad and it's so bizarre. I'm okay, you guys. So, yeah, Dave, we're getting slammed for sure. I don't think it's even over yet, but I'm going to try and get through this live. I do, but it's on the wall in my hallway, so I can't see it. So the case that I'm covering tonight is local. Alexis went missing here locally and in my area. And I just can't tell you how much this case has bothered me, all of us here within the community. And she still is not getting the coverage that I feel she so deserves, even though she has been covered on a number of different national TV shows and things. So, I mean, that part is good. And there has been some large YouTube true crime creators that have done stories on Alexa and done Alexa's stories. So those are all good things, but we just need to keep it out there because the local police here, as far as I'm concerned, they consider this a cold case. So this September, it's going to be 6 years since Alexis Camry Scott vanished. I want to pull up her missing persons poster. I thought I had it up. Just a minute. I know I've got it somewhere. Oh, I know where it is. Hold on. All right, here's a picture of her. And this will give you guys an idea. So this is a picture of Alexis Camry Scott. And she went missing on October 23rd, 2017. She was 20 years old. Alexis is a daughter, a sister, a friend to many. But her most important role is that she's a mom. Back when she went missing, her son was 2 years old. To fully understand what happened to Alexis, we have to talk about a tragic event that happened a few weeks before she went missing. And this happened on a trip to Las Vegas. Now, Alexis did not tell her mom everything about what happened on that trip. But April, her mother, saw the bruises on Alexis when she returned home. When Alexis disappeared in September, April started to learn more about that trip and the ordeal that Alexis had gone through, because she didn't really confide in her mother, but she confided in others. April wondered when Alexis went missing if this could be related to her disappearance, since it happened just 3 weeks prior. Alexis Camry Scott is just one of the many missing people and vanished people in this country. And I'm here tonight to tell you Alexis's story. Since Alexis disappeared, her mother April has fought to find answers and to bring those responsible for her disappearance to justice. She continues to tell her daughter's story in hopes that someone out there who was there that morning at that party will speak up, because someone knows something. Alexis adored being a mother. She loved her son. She adored him. And one reason her family became so concerned upon Alexis's disappearance is that Alexis would never go that long without contacting her little boy. She never would have just walked away from her life and left him behind. And those that knew her knew this to be true. April, Alexis's mother, has been caring for her grandson since Alexis went missing. It'll soon be 6 years. And Alexis's little boy is 8 years old. April could not go a day without checking on him. I'm sorry, April said that Alexis could not go a day without checking on him and wanting pictures sent. And if she was going to be gone for any length of time, she would always let her mother or someone know that where she was going and how to get a hold of her. And she would have always contacted her mom to check in on her little boy. Leading up to her disappearance, Alexis had been living at home with her mother, her brother, and her son. On the Friday before Alexis went missing, April and Alexis's son went to bed, but Alexis and her brother stayed up that night. They were talking while she was communicating with some people on social media. He does remember his sister leaving the house sometime between 11:30 p.m. and 12 a.m. When April awoke the next morning, she noticed that Alexa was not at home, and her son told her that she had left the night before. Alexis had made plans with her mom that day, which was Saturday, so it was unusual for her to not be there. So April tried to contact her to find out what was going on and why she wasn't at home. She called her a couple of times in the morning, and then she called her again a couple of times in the afternoon on Saturday, but she never got a response. She used her Facebook app to contact her because Alexis didn't want to pay her cell phone bill because she wanted the money for other things. So she would talk to her with the Facebook app by phone. So on Sunday, when Alexis still had not contacted anyone, nor had she returned home, and there was no response from April's continual calling and leaving messages, April began to worry. On Monday, it was a work day, and April had to go back to work as she worked at the school district 150 in Peoria. She continued to worry about Alexis that whole day. And when she had time, she tried reaching out. When she got off work, she tried to contact her daughter again with no response. By 9 p.m. on Monday night, she still had heard nothing from her daughter since Friday. And April knew something was wrong. Alexis should be home by now, and she should have reached out to her mom to check on her son. April continued to try to get a hold of her daughter to no avail. On Tuesday, when April had not contacted Alexis, she sent a message that she would be filing a missing person report if Alexis did not contact her immediately. And April was so worried because of the ordeal that Alexis had been through 3 weeks prior. The ordeal happened when Alexis had gone to Las Vegas. Alexis met a man who said that he was a party promoter who recruits young women for modeling and backup dancing, and that there was a party in Vegas and she could make great money as a dancer. From what we can gather, Alexis thought she was going to Las Vegas as an escort and to be eye candy for men at this party. This man purchased 2 tickets for Las Vegas for Alexis and a friend. And the tickets were by air, so they flew. Once they arrived in Las Vegas, Alexis learned that this party that she had been told about had been canceled. And from there, things took a frightening turn. April had no idea what was happening in Vegas. She had tried several times to reach Alexis, but every time she called, she would get a man or the friend who had flown to Vegas with Alexis. When Alexis did not make her flight home, April grew far more worried. She knew something wasn't right. Then April got a call from a woman, excuse me, in Sacramento, California, who had found Alexis several hundred miles away from where she had been in Las Vegas. The lady proceeded to tell April that she had found Alexis on the Strip in California and that she was naked and completely in a fetal position and extremely scared. April was told that Alexis had escaped whoever took her and that she had been forced into prostitution. And Alexis escaped with nothing. She was completely naked. The woman who called April covered her up, and the friends that she was with were on their way to Walmart, and they decided to take Alexis with them and got her clothes and took her back to their house. She had nothing. She had no shoes, no purse. She had no socks. She had nothing. And they called April right away. At first, Alexis would not get on the phone with her mother. And the woman was doing all the talking. But April could hear Alexis, and she knew that she was very upset. Finally, Alexis did get on the phone with her mom, but she still would not tell her mother what had happened. And she told her mom it was just way too much to say over the phone and too much to talk about. And she begged her mom to please just get her home right away. So April did what any mother would do in this situation. She paid for a bus ticket to bring Alexis home. The bus was to arrive in Chicago, and two of Alexis's friends, male friends, drove up to Chicago and picked her up from the bus station and drove her back to Peoria. April noticed right away when Alexis got home that her daughter was completely bruised and battered. She was shaken, but she did not want to talk about it with her mom. And the reason was she was afraid that her mom would go to the police. And April was scared of these people who had taken her. She was afraid that they would come looking for her. Alexis wrote a post on her Facebook page about being kidnapped and forced to do things that she did not want to do. She was being watched the entire time. And she went from posting on Facebook her excitement about going to Las Vegas and her original post from when they landed in Las Vegas showing how excited they were, to posting random things that had nothing to do with anything. It's been determined or thought that these posts that continued while Alexis was supposedly in Las Vegas, was she forced to be making these to seem like she was interacting on social media, or was somebody acting as her and posting for her? It just didn't seem right. It didn't make sense. And it was completely out of character for her. April was afraid for her daughter, and she was extremely afraid for her daughter now that she was missing. She couldn't imagine what may have transpired that led to her daughter's disappearance. The two friends who were male that drove her home from Chicago, one of them, April would tell a podcaster, he was a peddler in the area. And him and another guy worked to get her back from Chicago. They drove, she happened to see him at a gas station near their house. And she asked him about about Alexis. And he said he hadn't seen her since the weekend. And she said, "What do you mean the weekend?" And he said that he and the other friend, the other male friend, had picked Alexis up from her house, and they had drove around smoking marijuana. And he was tired and decided he wanted to go back home. And so they dropped him off at his house, and the driver and Alexis were the only ones left in the car. And April wanted to know what happened. So she asked this gentleman to contact the other guy who was the driver right then and there, because she wanted to know what he knew about where her daughter was. He got him on the phone, and he proceeded to tell her that he took Alexis home to change clothes, and that once she had done that, he dropped her off at a party at 100 Richmond Avenue or thereabouts. He wasn't positive what house she went into because he didn't wait around to see, but he thought that it was 100 Richmond Avenue. She said she was going to meet some guy there to smoke a blunt with. April had went on to say that Alexis had lost her iPhone as well as her house keys during the ordeal in Las Vegas and California. So she had no way to get into her house unless someone would let her in. And according to her brother, when April asked him, "Did Alexis come home that night to change her clothes?" he said, "No, Mom. I would have had to have answered the door to let her in, or she would have had to knock on my bedroom window for me to get up and go let her in. She never came back home." Alexis went missing, according to eyewitnesses, approximately 5 to 6 minutes after arriving at this party. The individuals who live in that house are a 41-year-old man who parties with 20-year-olds. And that is something that is concerning for one. But the consensus around this case is that the individuals in that home know what happened to Alexis that night. Whether or not these individuals are the one man is the one and the same who asked Alexis to go to Las Vegas and who pretended to be this person, or, pretended to tell these girls that he was some sort of a party promoter, lived in this house. Nobody has wanted to talk that was at this party. There's a lot of fear around this. There's drugs, there's drug dealers, and there's some pretty unsavory characters. Now, was Alexis making wise decisions about her safety in her young life? Probably not. But that doesn't mean that she doesn't deserve justice and that she doesn't deserve and didn't deserve what may have happened to her. And when you go to the social media that's around this case, and you listen to people and stuff, everybody that talks about Alexis will tell you that she was a sweet girl, a kind person, and a caring friend. And most of all, she was a very concerned mother who loved her son and would never have left him. Is it possible that she has been re-trafficked? That's in the back of all of our minds, that they got a hold of her, somehow tricked her into coming to this house thinking she was going to a party with friends, and something happened to her. Was she re-trafficked, or was she killed? There was a fire of proportionate size at this location. They found burnt bedding, a mattress, a whole bunch of things in a county south of here, west of here. And they also found there was a point after her disappearance where a washer and dryer were moved out of this house with a truck. And there has been speculation, because it happened just within days of Alexis' disappearance, that Alexis could have possibly been in the dryer or the washing machine and then that's how they got her body out of the house. That's also been speculation around this case. I mean, the speculation is crazy because of what happened to her 3 weeks earlier, being trafficked out of Las Vegas and sent to Sacramento, California, where she was found naked on the street with nothing. To say that the two incidents aren't related, that's a far stretch. For me, I believe that they very well could be related. I think it's highly possible. The search for Alexis continues. The outpouring of love and support that the family continues to get is there. Her Facebook page, which is Alexis Scott campaign, is still in operation. Hold on one second. I'm going to post that in chat if you guys want to check it out. That's the Facebook group. There's also an open fundraiser on GoFundMe for the family and for her son. I am going to post that as well. And April needs help. She needs help in finding her daughter. And people need to talk. People need to come forward that know what happened to this young girl, because they're out there. There were tons of people at that house party that night, and people know what happened to her and where she ended up. And I just can't imagine if this was their daughter, how they would feel. My heart breaks for April every day, because around town there are all the signs that are still out there about Alexis being missing. And when you see those signs, it's truly heart-wrenching, because it's just another reminder that she still hasn't been found. And every time a body turns up, or the Illinois River runs right through our town, basically. And every time we have a body wash up from the river, people hold their breath waiting to see if it's Alexis. or not. And nothing. I mean, it's absolutely been, she vanished without a trace. There's nothing has been heard from her. Absolutely nothing. And just because, like I said, just because the time has passed, it doesn't mean that her friends and family are still not looking for her. They've never stopped. They still continue to have celebration of life for her, to remind everyone and the community that we haven't forgotten about her. And we don't want people to forget about her. And there's so many people that have never even heard her name and don't even know that she's missing. Peoria Police is offering a $2,500 reward for information about Alexis Scott. And it seems trivial to me in so many ways, but it is something. At least they're, they're asking for the public's help, and they're paying you if you provide it. So Alexis was last seen at this house party in the 100 block of Richmond Avenue in Peoria, Illinois, sometime between 4 and 6 a.m. on September 23rd, 2017. And according to the person who invited Alexis to the party, she left the house on multiple occasions, and she was in the backyard when he left. It just doesn't make sense. She last used her cellular phone at 5:08 a.m. and reportedly left the party on foot sometime after 5:30 a.m. and she has never been heard from again. Now, that was one eyewitness account that she left on foot. According to her loved ones, though, just weeks before the disappearance, we know of her traveling to Vegas and what happened to her, and she became the victim of sex trafficking and was trafficked to Sacramento, California, where there she escaped. She was found naked and disoriented, and she was able to get back to Peoria with help from her mother. But she lived in fear those 3 weeks of retaliation from her traffickers. The owner of the home where the party was at knows the man that Alexis Scott went to Las Vegas with. He knows him. And her family fears she's been trafficked again. She's considered endangered, and her case remains unsolved. And she has been focused on the Charlie Project. She has been on Vanished on CBS, the TV show Vanished Without a Trace. I think she's been on a couple of other shows too. At this point in time, I think people are beginning to feel that her case has become a cold case. The police basically have said that they don't get tips like they used to. Not really at all. And her family just needs closure. If you know anything, if maybe your mind is clear now, or maybe you have heard things from somebody else who heard it from somebody else, nothing is too small, and the Peoria Police Department wants to know all of it. And April just continues to ask people to pray for her daughter and for her return. Hang on, I'm going to sneeze. like I said, I just can't imagine being April. And hey, Fusa, good. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here. Hey, Miracle Hearts, how are you? Mitzi says that she bets money they're connected. How awful. This happens every day all across America. Huge trafficking rings. The facts all point to nefarious events. People need to talk. Someone knows. I so agree with you. And it is sad because it does happen every day in this country. And when it happens so close to home, it's absolutely frightening. Because it just makes you stop and realize that, it can even happen here. And it doesn't matter who you are or anything. She was just trying to better herself. She wanted to do better by her son. She wanted to make some extra money. And, was it a smart move? Was it dangerous? Yes, because she didn't know this person and she just believed what they told her. Again, I think we need to be talking to our young people about trafficking, how it happens, the way that they can lure you in with these stories of all kinds of things. And they often look for them, like I said, the marginalized, the young women who may not have the strongest ability to take care of themselves. Now, Alexis has a strong family unit. Her mother is a strong woman and has a very good job and has taken care of her family and gave Alexis, a roof over her head and a place to live. And her brother loves her and her son loves her. So I wouldn't say that she doesn't have a strong family unit. I would say she does. But she was still very vulnerable. And she was vulnerable to what happened to her. And I just wanted to get her story out there to you guys because it's heartbreaking. And her story, Alexis's story, is just one of the few. Or not one of the few, but one of the many. One of the many young women, teenagers alike, who go missing in this country every single day and that are being human trafficked. If you don't understand what that means, please go watch Cop Facts's. I'm going to try to find it real quick so I can post it. Hold on a second. He made a movie and posted it on his YouTube channel. Where are you? God. About human trafficking and how it happens. And it's hold on a second here. I'm looking to find it. Here it is. It's called Easy Prey. And it was a short film that he made, and it is absolutely fantastic. And I believe that it's something I said way back when he made it, that it was important that we share it. And it was also, there it is. And that it's important. I think it would be important to show this in our high schools as well. I agree with you, Fusa. They do need a good PI, but I don't think they can afford one. And that's where these families end up. They don't have the resources to do this. And I just hate it. Mitzi, I'm so with you there. I get so tired of the first thing out of law enforcement's mind when someone goes missing is they probably ran away or they just probably took off. I don't understand that mindset. I really, really don't. It's very, very upsetting. I mean, it even happened in Delphi. They thought the girls had just gone off somewhere and would be found at some friend's house. Even though Becky and Anna said that would not happen. They didn't do things like that. They didn't just up and disappear. But that's the mindset that, that law enforcement has. And it's very, it can be very upsetting, like I said. But that's the case of Alexis Camry Scott, and she is a missing mother, and I think that she matters. And I feel sorry for her little boy. Excuse me. They post pictures of him on her Facebook group. And there's pictures of him where he sits and just stares out the window looking for her, waiting for her to come home. When he was about 3 years old, 3 or 4, there's photos of him standing in front of one of the signs, the yard signs, because there's tons of them and they're all over the city. You'll find them all over the city with her picture on it and the phone number to call for missing, for information. And you can see him blowing her a kiss because it's his mom's picture. And it just breaks your heart. And I agree. I mean, it does make it easier for them to dismiss it at that. And when you go to some of these different websites, like, what was I thinking of? Doggone it. I was going to tell you guys. I was trying to remember what it was. Because like the NBC, the national news picked her story up when it first happened. They talked about her on the national news, but it wasn't until like November of 2017. And Dateline got involved for a while. They wanted to know because, again, I think the reason that they talked about her early on was because of the fact that she may very well have been re-trafficked. And I think that brought some spotlight to her case. But the big thing and the big question is, how did she leave the party? Who did she leave the party with? Did she leave the party? And April said that whenever her daughter would go out at night and go to a party, she would always be back by sunrise so that she could be there to see her son. And that's when she started to worry. And her social media accounts completely went silent after that moment in time. And she still hasn't posted to this day on any social media. She was reported to Peoria police on Wednesday, September 27th, as missing. And they state that they immediately got, to work trying to verify where she was last seen, and all of that. Most of the people at the party that were questioned said she was there. They remember seeing her. So that was able to be corroborated. A few days after that, the Peoria Police Department detectives went to the neighborhood where that party was held. They did go door to door, asking if anyone had information on Alexis and doing all the canvassing as they should. And unfortunately, not one person said they had any information. They searched vacant houses in the area to see if they could find any physical evidence that might lead to Alexis's whereabouts, and they found nothing. Captain Mashinsky at the time of the Peoria Police Department said that they weren't getting a lot of information, so they ended up doing a search warrant at the address of where the party was to try to get some more stuff going there. They did collect some stuff, but there was nothing that stood out there one way or another. Police say the people who hosted that party said they didn't know Alexis well, and they were cooperating with police. There was a discrepancy on whether or not there was alcohol or drugs at the party. And he said that they've not been able to determine that, nor were they able to glean any suspects or persons of interest named in Alexis's case. And there still are none nearly 6 years later. This is by far, at the time when the Dateline took up Alexis's story, it would have been the longest time she'd ever been gone where she didn't touch base with someone or some form over social media. Those few days, it was just not like her to be gone that long. And April said she feels like she's in a nightmare and that this can't possibly be happening to her or be her life. They have a search team for Alexis, and when the weather permits, they go out. They have flyers, they give them out. They've put them up everywhere. She's all over her. You can't, if you live here or around here or near here, you know who she is. Because there's been such a lack of progress, police say they are still continuing their investigation, and that they felt in the early days they were pretty aggressive, and that they were following up on any leads that they get. Alexis's 2-year-old son, Tevin, lives with April and still lives with her to this day. He sees all the flyers all the time and the signs. And April told Dateline that she just told him that she was away and that she'd come back soon. She's like, I just want to be a good mom for him and a good grandma. According to the press release, Alexis was last seen wearing light-colored blue jeans, a black zip hoodie with pink designs from Victoria's Secret. Her hair was pulled back into a ponytail. She is 5'1" tall and about 140 pounds with brown eyes and long brown hair. She has several tattoos. She has royalty on her inner left arm. She has paw prints on her right shoulder. She has Trevon on her right wrist and Tevin Jr. on her right shoulder and Lily on her left shoulder. Alexis has pierced ears and she has braces on her lower teeth. If anyone has any information regarding Alexis Camry Scott's disappearance, please call the Peoria Police Department at 309-673-4521 or Crime Stoppers anonymously at 309-673-9000. Oh, CJK, that makes me feel good that you've heard of her. I'm glad you've heard of her. It is so sad. I just feel so bad. No, unfortunately, Fusa, there are no cameras. It's a residential area. And I don't think they had Ring cameras in that area, from what I understand. But yeah, it's certainly very, very sad. So anyway, guys, that's it for this evening. Thank you for hanging around and listening to the cases tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you. Boston says, did law enforcement take the house owner's phones and the guy driver in that car and go through their phones? We don't know what they did. They said that they investigated everyone that was at the party, the owners of the house. Again, why do you go burn a mattress and bedding and a number of other things that they went and did, and they did it in another county. And that stuff was all found. All of that is, highly suspicious. The moving of the washer and dryer just a day or two after the disappearance. Very weird. Trafficking is a huge moneymaker. And it is, yes, you are right. There are people in high places that are involved. These are not just local criminals. But I will tell you that it is huge money. It's a huge money maker, and they will do anything to keep their operations going and from being found out about who they are. So, it doesn't surprise me that they, just wouldn't get rid of her for fear that she would turn them in or talk about what had happened to her. I mean, if she had any idea of who these people were and could identify them or whatever, that makes her life very, very much in danger. Yeah, CJK, exactly. It was to get rid of evidence. Pure and simple. Pure and simple. So it seems like maybe I'm still hearing thunder outside, but it sounds like maybe we might be coming to the end of the first round of this. I'm going to have to check my weather when I jump off of here. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you for everyone who donates to the channel. Please make sure that you press subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the like button. That helps me stay up in the algorithm on YouTube. Things have been going well for the channel. We're growing, and people are getting more and more familiar with my content, and that makes me happy. Exactly. I don't understand it either. From what I understand, I don't understand why the FBI has not been brought in. If she was trafficked and she told people about what happened to her in Las Vegas, and the fact that she went from Las Vegas against her will to California and was held there and found naked on the street, that somebody would say, hello, this woman has been trafficked and we need to find out more. It's just my opinion, but I will continue to follow Alexis's case, and I will bring any updates that we have on it. And I do appreciate all of you listening to her case tonight. Please share her name on your social media. Share her case. Share her the Facebook group. I will put it back up in the chat. So please share that. Join the group so that you can share her story on your social media. All that we can do to keep these stories alive, every little bit helps, you guys. Be kind to one another. Take care, and I will see you all on Tuesday. Have a great rest of your weekend. Good night, everybody.